So we're going to start in a seated position today. Change things up a little bit. So just finding a comfortable seated position to start with. Crossing the legs, or if it's more comfortable, straightening the legs out in front of you. And creating a tall spine, sitting upright, rolling the shoulders backwards and downwards. Resting the wrists on the knees. And closing the eyes. Taking a moment here to gently focus on the breath. Tuning into the gentle rise and fall of the breath. Tuning into the pace and depth of the breath. And tuning into the space the breath fills. Gently allowing the breath to deepen, going all the way down to the bottom of the lungs. Once we've made a good connection, allowing the breath to start from there. If comfortable, breathing in through the nose rather than the mouth. Just avoid holding or shortening the breath. And just allowing it to flow. Bringing the awareness back to the body. Again, paying attention to that length. Rising up from the sitting bones all the way to the top of your head. Rising up through the spine and the neck. Relaxing the shoulders. Without dropping the head forwards, gently tucking the chin in. And throughout the session, we want to maintain this sense of space. This pace and depth of the breath. Just taking a few more breaths in this position. Maybe seeing if every breath can be a little bit deeper, a little bit slower than the previous one. Maybe counting the in-breath and then the out-breath. See if you can lengthen, especially that out-breath, just slowing down the systems of the body, slowing down the heart, arriving in the body. If you like now, taking a moment to set an intention for the class as well. Maybe you just want to have this class to take a moment for yourself. To remember to switch off for a moment and take some time. Or even to switch on and to use this time to spend actively towards yourself. For the duration of this practice, we're just going to forget all the other things and just focus on this practice. So taking one more deep breath in and gently opening the eyes. We're going to start this class quite gently, starting just warming up the body and rolling the head in one direction. And changing, going in the other direction. Coming back to the center, dropping the head towards the right. You can place that right hand on the side of the head. Relaxing the shoulder. We're not trying to press the head down, just resting the hand. You can also extend that left arm down to intensify that stretch in the side of the neck. Releasing on this side, we're going over to the other side, dropping the head towards that left. Placing that left hand on the head if you like, and extending that right arm. releasing on this side. We're immediately going into some side stretches, so placing that right hand on the ground or on the mat and reaching that left arm up and over, stretching that left side of the body. If you like, rotating your head to look up. So if the stretch is too deep, simply coming up a little bit. Otherwise, seeing if you can lengthen that left arm further over towards the right side, or actively grabbing a hold of that arm to really stretch it out a little bit further. So trying to not lock out the elbow of that right arm, just keeping a slight bend in that right arm. And breathing in, coming to the center. Breathing out, placing that left hand down and stretching that right arm overhead. Repeating the stretch on the other side. Breathing into that stretch that we feel in the right side of the body. And coming back to the center. Here, placing the hands at the back of the head. We're going to breathe out and just allow that chin to come towards the chest, allowing the elbows to come towards each other, hunching the back, feeling that stretch along the neck and the back, relaxing the shoulders. And on the in-breath, gently rising back up, opening the elbows towards the side, opening that chest. Once we're upright, releasing the arms, releasing them down alongside us. We're going to bring the hands together, pressing the palms of the hands away from us. Again, dropping that chin to the chest, hunching that back. Really stretching between the shoulder blades here as well. On the in-breath, rising up, bringing the arms up towards the sky, squeezing the arms close to the ears. And on the out-breath, returning, hunching that back. Repeating a few of these with the breath, rising on the in-breath, and hunching that back on the out-breath. Once more rising up on the in-breath. And we're upright, releasing the hands again. We're just going to come up over the knees, coming up onto our hands and our knees now. And we're just going to start here with some cats and cows. So on the in-breath, raising the gaze and the tailbone. Dropping that belly. On the out-breath, dropping the head down, hunching that back up. And repeating a few of these, again with the breath. And returning to the center. Now you can either choose to repeat what we were doing previously, or if you like, we can add a bit of a wrist stretch to this. So if this is too much, pay attention with this one. You don't want to overdo it. If you can, see if you can point the fingers, rotate the hands outwards, point the fingers towards you. From here, we're going to gently sway back and forth, not going back into cats and cows if you're doing this variation. Simply swaying back and forth. So if it's a little bit deep, you can bring your weight a little bit further forwards. And bringing the hands back, placing them with the fingers facing the front, Placing one hand upside down again, pointing the fingers towards us. Repeating this one. Not putting too much pressure on that hand. Making sure the pressure is distributed as well between that left hand, between the knees. Flipping this hand back. Flipping that left hand over. Repeating on this side. And bringing that hand back down. We're going to tuck in the toes, making our way to our first downward facing dog. So pressing the hands into the mat, raising the hips, sinking the heels down. So to help prevent pressure on the wrists here, we're really pressing the fingertips into the mat. We're going to keep this posture dynamic for a moment. So we're going to bend one knee and straighten the other, and then alternate, walking out the knees, walking out the legs. Warming up the legs here. And gently walking the feet forward, so keeping a bend in the knees here. Coming into a forward fold. And breathing in and gently rolling up. Rolling the shoulders back and raising the gaze forward. We're going to come to the front of the mat if we aren't already, bringing the feet together. And place the weight over that right leg, taking a big step back with that left foot. So we've got the toes of that right foot facing the front of the mat, and those of the left foot facing the side. We're going to rotate the hips to the side. I'll just show you from this side. Rotate the hips to the sides, to the side of the mat. And then breathing in, bringing the arms parallel. On the out breath, without rocking the hips, we're going to reach that right arm forwards and then drop it down, reaching that left hand up, coming into our triangle pose. So you can place that right hand along the leg if you like. If you can, looking up at that left hand. And breathing in, coming back up to the center. On that out breath, dropping that left arm, raising that right arm up for reverse triangle. Again, following that top hand with the gaze. Breathing into that stretch in the right side of the body, breathing air and space into that area where you feel the stretch. Breathing in back to the center. This time on the out breath, we're going to rock the hips backwards towards that back leg, coming into an extended triangle. So dropping that right hand again, raising that left hand, seeing if you can bend a little bit deeper this time with the hips rocking backwards. Avoid slumping forward, so imagine you're still pressing that left shoulder backwards, pressing the hips forwards. Breathing in, coming back to the center. I'm going to bend the knees and step the feet back together, so we're just coming back towards the front of the mat. We're going to repeat this one on the other side, so we're going to take a big step back with that right foot. I'm again just going to show you like this. So take a big step back with that right foot, having the toes of that left foot facing the front of the mat, and those of the right foot facing the side. And then bringing your hips to face the side of the mat as well. Breathing in, bringing the arms parallel. And on the out breath, keeping the hips where they are, but reaching out that left arm. Then dropping that left hand down and raising that right arm up. So trying to keep the arms relatively in line. If comfortable, looking up at that right hand, otherwise looking straight ahead if that's easier on the neck. And breathing in, coming to the center. On the out breath, dropping that right hand, raising that left hand in the gaze. And breathing in, coming to the center. On the out breath, allowing the hips to rock back as we bring that left hand back down, coming into our extended triangle. So imagine still pressing those hips forwards and that right shoulder backwards. And remember those deep breaths into the side of the body. And then breathing in, coming back to the center, releasing the arms, bending the knees, coming back towards that front of the mat. For this next one, there's a few variations, so I'll just start with the one that's open for everybody to join. This is the eagle arms. So just stretching out the shoulders, breathing in, we're going to raise up the arms with the palms facing upwards. On the out breath, we're going to bring the arms in front of us and place that left elbow on top of that right elbow. We're going to bend at the elbows, having the palms of the hands facing away from each other. And then ultimately fold the arms around each other, so bringing that right hand closer to the face. Seeing if we can either grab a hold of the pinky finger and the thumb, or if all is good, pressing the palms of the hands together, depending on your level of shoulder and wrist flexibility here. So you can simply relax the arms and keep them down, or if you like, you can start to raise the elbows up, bringing the palms of the hands and the wrists slightly away from us. But if all is good, we're trying to have the thumbs towards us, the pinky fingers pressed away from us. So you can stay in this position, or if you would like to add another bind to the legs, you can take that right leg, bending that knee, bringing that right knee over that left knee, either staying here or really twisting around that leg, placing the back of that foot at the back of that left leg. From here, coming down into a squat, seeing if you can find your balance here. So gently focusing on a still point on the ground. And coming back up, releasing the legs, releasing the arms. If you need to, shaking out the arms. Then breathing in again, raising the arms up. On the out breath, bringing the arms out in front of us, this time placing that right elbow on top of that left elbow. Bending at the elbows so that the palms are outwards again. And then folding the arms around each other. Again, you can bring the pinky finger and the thumb together, or if all is good, placing the palms of the hands together. If comfortable, raising up the elbows and pressing the wrists away. If your balance is feeling good today, you can bend that left knee. Either bring that left knee over that right knee, Or fold that leg around again. And seeing if you can find your balance, coming down into that squat. And releasing, coming back up, unfolding the legs, releasing the arms, shaking out the arms. Then breathing in, raising the arms up, raising the gaze up. On the out breath, we're coming into our forward fold. We're going to step the legs back. If you like, you can join me in a chaturanga. So bringing the chest down, coming into our cobra or upward facing dog. And tucking in the toes and coming into our downward facing dog. So we'll meet at downward facing dog. And again, we're just going to keep this movement dynamic for now. So on the in-breath, we're going to bend the knees and imagine melting the heart towards the thighs. And on the out-breath, we're going to straighten the knees and sink the heels towards the mat. And then dropping the knees, bring them back towards the mat so that we're back on our hands and our knees. And we're going again into a few cat and cow stretches. So breathing in, raising that gaze, raising that tailbone and dropping that belly. On the out breath, scrunching that back up. And repeating this again with the breath, or if you prefer, placing the hands slightly further forwards than the shoulders again. On the in-breath, making your way to your upward facing dog, pressing the backs of the feet into the mat, with your hips and knees slightly lifted off the mat, keeping that chest open and the shoulders low. And on the out-breath, rolling over the toes into the downward facing dog. Finding the variation that you're comfortable with, or if you need a break, finding your child's pose. And placing the knees back down, bringing them towards the outside of the mat. Sinking the hips backwards and reaching the arms out in front, coming into our child's pose now. If you like, you can place the chin or forehead onto the mat here. Breathing in and rolling up through the spine. Coming one last time onto our hands and our knees for one more variation of the cat and cow stretch. So coming into the tiger stretch. For this one, we're going to place that left knee in the center of the hips. On the in-breath, we're going to raise that gaze again, but we're also going to raise up that right foot. So keeping a 90-degree bend in that knee. On the out-breath, we're going to drop the forehead and squeeze that knee in the direction of the forehead, really squeezing that core. On the in-breath, bringing that foot up again. And just repeating this a few times with the breath. Finishing the one we're on and then placing that right knee in the center of the hips. Going on to the other side, so breathing in and raising that gaze in that left foot with a 90-degree bend of the knee. And breathing out and bringing that knee towards the forehead. Allowing that movement to go with the breath, nice and controlled, using those core muscles. Finishing the one we're on before making our way back onto our hands and our knees and bringing our way into a seated position. So here for a moment, lifting up the knees before we get comfortable here, placing them in the elbow creases. Lifting up the feet off of the mat, getting any tension out of the ankles, moving the toes, and on the out breath scrunching the toes, on the in breath spreading the toes, creating some space between the toes. Any soreness, stiffness clicks out. And then crossing the ankles. You are going to go back for a moment to that shoulder flexibility. So you're going to start by breathing in and raising up that right arm. The out breath, bending that elbow, placing that right hand between the shoulder blades. We're going to take that left hand now and either place it on the lower back or without any pain, if we can place it up towards that upper back, we're going to bring it up and see if we can bring the hands together behind the back. Otherwise, grabbing a hold of the t-shirt is fine too. Trying to keep that tall spine here, and imagine you're pressing that right elbow backwards. But any pain, releasing, relaxing the shoulders. We should be having a comfortable stretch. And releasing, rolling the shoulders back, swapping over to the other side now, breathing in, raising that left arm, then bending at the elbow to place that hand between the shoulder blades. We're going to take that right hand, either placing it on the lower back or bending at the elbow, seeing if we can bring the fingertips together again. So if it's a struggle, grabbing a hold of the t-shirt. If it causes any pain, simply not doing this exercise or placing that hand on the lower back. You might feel that this one might be a little bit more difficult than the other one. That tends to be the case for right-handed people. And gently releasing, rolling the shoulders back. Releasing any tension in the shoulders. And placing the hands on the mat in front of us, we're going to walk out the hands, but keeping the hips in contact with the mat, so stopping where you need to. Always seeing if you can bring the elbows onto the mat. Walking the hands over towards that right side, placing that left hand on top of that right hand, heading into the side of the body. Walking the hands over towards that left side and placing that right hand on top of that left one. Coming back to the center and walking the hands back in. We're going to cross the legs the other way, so bringing that back leg in front this time. And then breathing in, we're going to find our twist, so raise that right arm up. On the out breath, placing it on that left knee, placing that left hand behind us, and twisting to look over that left shoulder. Relaxing the knees and the shoulders. If comfortable, you can lift up that left hand, fold it behind the back. Place it on the lower back or the inside of that right thigh. Any pain in the shoulder, releasing. It should be a twist, not a contortion of the shoulder. And breathing in, coming back to the center, placing the wrists on the knees again. On the next in-breath, raising up that left arm. On the out-breath, bringing it across that right knee, placing that right hand behind us and twisting to look over that right shoulder. Relaxing and dropping the knees and keeping that chest open. If you like, you can fold that right hand behind the back, placing it on the lower back or the inside of that left thigh. On the in-breath, we're focusing on lifting, and on the out-breath on twisting. Releasing, coming back to the center. Again, placing the hands out on the mat in front of us and walking them out. And walking them over towards the right, the left hand on top of that right hand. And walking the hands over towards the left, placing that right hand on top of the left. Coming back to the center, walking the hands back in. Lifting up the knees. We're going to straighten out the legs. Keeping the legs active, the toes pointed upwards and the knees pressed down. Bringing the hips out. On the in-breath, we're going to create a tall spine and raise the arms up overhead. On the out-breath, hinging forwards from the hips, reaching towards the feet, placing the hands anywhere along the legs or on the toes or ankles. And releasing, rolling back up through the spine. Placing the hands next to the hips on the mat and bending the knees. We're going to place the hands on the inside of the knees and roll onto our backs on the mat. And relaxing the knees, the legs, all of the lower body, allowing the knees to fall open, allowing the ankles to separate. Relaxing all of the body and allowing it to be supported by the hands. Finding the nicest position for the lower back and breathing into the lower back. Bringing the knees together and the ankles together, grabbing a hold of the shins. On the in-breath, staying here, and on the out-breath, rolling ourselves into a little ball, so bringing the knees towards the chest. If comfortable with the neck, bringing the forehead towards the knees. The in-breath again, releasing. So repeating this with the breath, giving yourself a massage between the spine and the mat. And on the next in-breath, dropping the feet to the mat, keeping them just underneath the hips. Bring the arms down alongside the body and press the palms of the hands next to the hips into the mat. Breathing in, we're going to raise the hips up, coming into our bridge pose. Squeezing the glutes, raising the glutes. On the out breath, we're going to release, bringing the hips back down. We're going to repeat this on the in-breath, raising the hips up. If you like now, you can squeeze the shoulders backwards, rolling onto your shoulders. Or if all of that is good, you can bring the hands together, interlocking the fingers behind the back and really squeeze those shoulders backwards and underneath you. We're going to hold this one a little bit longer than the previous one. If you'd like to intensify the stretch a little bit more, you can come onto the tiptoes for a moment, releasing the hands and bending at the elbows as to place the hands onto the lower back and sink the heels back down. So now here with the hips elevated. But if at any point this becomes too much, bring back onto the tiptoes to release the hands. Bring back into a lower bridge or having a rest. If you're still with me, I want to try another variation here. Let's see if you can straighten that right leg up towards the sky. Bending that knee again, releasing on that side, straightening that left leg. Plunging the toes up towards the sky of that left foot. And releasing, placing that foot back down. So to release, back onto the tiptoes, releasing the hands. Sinking the hips, sinking the heels. We're going to bring the hands up, placing them underneath the head, the elbows pointing outwards. We're going to drop the knees towards that right side, bringing the gaze towards that left side, coming into a twist. So we're keeping the contact between the shoulder blades and the mat, using this posture just to release any tension we've got stored up in the back. Breathing in, bringing the knees back up, bringing the gaze back up. On the out breath, dropping the knees towards the left and rolling the gaze towards the right. Again, keeping that contact with shoulder blades on the mat. Breathing in, bringing the knees back up, bringing the gaze back up, returning to the center. Releasing the hands from underneath the head, bringing them alongside the body. Resting the wrists in line with the hips, with the palms facing up this time. And keeping the knees bent or straightening out the legs on the mat. Coming into our final resting pose here. Adjusting the body however we need to, finding a comfortable position. We spend the last couple of minutes of this practice in. In this posture, we're just going to scan the body, relaxing the body as we go along. Starting by relaxing the toes, and then the soles of the feet, releasing any tension that you've still got in the ankles, simply allowing the feet to fall open towards the sides. Relaxing the legs, softening the muscles of the calves and the shins, and then the thighs. Softening the knees and the hips. Relaxing the belly to allow the lower back to sink down into the mat. Relaxing along the back of the spine, traveling upwards. Opening the chest and relaxing the shoulders. Relaxing the arms, the muscles of the upper arms and the forearms. Softening the elbows and the wrists. Allowing the hands to fall open. Relax the palms of the hands and the fingers. And back to relax the back of the neck and then also the throat. The muscles of the face, the jaw, the forehead. Eventually relaxing the skull and the base of the skull. Taking a moment to take in all of the body. The out breath, feeling yourself fall deeper into that relaxation, sinking deeper into the mat. And the next in-breath, Bring that awareness back into the center of the body. Starting to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Gently rolling the head from side to side. And on the out breath, begin walking the feet back up towards the hips. Whenever you're ready, rolling onto one side. And then gently making your way back up. Namaste. Thank you for joining today.